Hey guys, good morning, good morning, good morning. I am greeting here, and there are people in my house responding, hello, mommy, as if I am greeting them. Hi guys, good morning, good morning. Today we have been having all sorts of technical challenges. So before I continue, I just want to make sure that you guys can hear me. I see there are people here, and we're going to do our protocol where we will greet in a proper way. But I want to first check that I am audible. So just a thumbs up from someone, so that I can make sure that I am good to go before I go too far. Fix the sound thing. All right. Thank you, my friend. Thank you so much. All right. Thank you guys for joining us. My name is Beauty Kotela. I am your host for this morning, this Grace Talks for this morning. It's a new week. We are in the month of March now. And before you know it, this year is going to be over. All right. Before you know it, this year is going to be over. So if you have things that you had said, I'm going to do in 2022, my friend, it is now 2022. In fact, 2022, in my language, would say, yeah, so you better get going. You better get going with your 2022. Okay. But before I go too far, let me do the usual. All right. My sister out there, way to Leeds, was here to take the front row seat. So good morning. Good morning, Leeds, joining us from, I take it, Gqeberha. Kanye is here, joining us from Mdantsane. Welcome, Kanye. The lioness is in the house. We can start now, all right? Otherwise, she's going to give us the roar. Morning, my lioness from Cape Town. And my friend and my sister, Nokanyo. Queenstown is in the house. Good morning, my friend. Welcome. And Nomsa joining us from Eswatini. Morning, Nomsa. Eswatini is in the house. Good morning, Hlophe. Thank you so much for joining us. PJ is in the house, and therefore Botswana is here. All right, if PJ is here, all of Botswana is here. Ihanuva Bandagwetu is also in the house. Welcome, Tandogazi, and thank you so much for joining us. Krugersdorp is in the house. Someone is here from Krugersdorp. I've been invaded, but let me continue. Okay, somebody, good morning, Zola. Thank you so much for joining us. And so we continue. My friend Sifu is here. Thank you so much for joining us. All right, thank you, Bantu. Thank you. I must tell you the joys of having children. My 4-year-old is here. He brought me a tea bag. He wanted to make tea. I asked Unako to make me some tea, and so I've got my tea made by the 11-year-old, but he felt that he also wanted to make me some tea. So thank you. I've got a tea bag. Anyway, yeah. Okay, so guys, I was just welcoming everybody. My sister, big sis Ndweza, is joining us from Ekonne. We've got people joining us from Johannesburg. All right, so that's the first thing that we do. We greet, okay? And then the next thing that we do is you call someone, and I see some of you are already calling other people to come and join us. I love, what Tandokazi does. I know, sorry, you can beat me on the side. This is her sister, all right? This is her sister. You always remind me of Peter and Andrew, who when they found, when Andrew, I think it was Andrew, who met Jesus, and then he went to find Peter. Andrew has got this thing of finding people. When he finds something, he goes and finds another person. But anyway, don't let me go too far in that regard. But thank you, Tandoka. So then the next thing we do is you call someone. Nokanya, there she is. All right? Calling people to come. All right? Because we will be blessed this morning. I have a sense that we will also be challenged this morning. I have a strong feeling that this morning's Grace Talks is also going to walk. We're going to walk away a little bit challenged as well. So tag someone so that they can come and join us here. If you are joining us via YouTube, it's easy. You just copy the link and you paste it where you think somebody needs to hear it. All right? So that they can also come and benefit from this program. All right? So basically look at what people are doing. You go and do that. If you're on Facebook, you tag someone. Remember, guys, to also subscribe to our YouTube channel called Building Great Lives. So if you are there, already watching from there, you can just click the subscribe button, even the little notification bell. That way you are able to get notifications when we are live. Okay, but if you're on Facebook and you have not yet subscribed to our YouTube channel, please go and do that. Okay, guys, let me go straight to my guest for today. All right. She has been here before. Many of us will know. So I'm getting ready now to put her on the screen so that we can talk. There she is. All right. I call her my queen. She calls me my queen. She's probably also called you my queen because she has got this concept of calling people queen. So before we continue too far, my queen, let me let you greet the community before we go too far. Good morning. Thank you for joining us on Grace Talks.
Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, my queen. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so grateful.
Thank you. Thank you, my queen. Thank you for being here. All right. And you were here early, bright and early this morning. And so I'm so grateful. And people are greetings, Queen Hlophe. And so I'm so thankful for you being here. As I was saying to the community, and I can say this now in your presence, that my queen was here before, but it was a combination. There were three of us, I think. And then it was my queen and my chi, and then myself. And but even as we spoke there, I sensed there's a lot of depth in Queen Hlophe, as somebody is saying, in you, my queen. And I felt that, you know what, we need to have an exclusive broadcast where it's just the two of us and we can dig deep into your story. Now, guys, the title of today's Grace Talk is Prosper in Spite of. All right? Prosper in spite of. Because here's the truth of the matter. Almost all of us, if you are not wounded, please put up your hand. All right? If you are not wounded, raise your thumbs up. But most of us are wounded people. Most of us are hurting in some form or another. All right? Most of us have been through what people call life. Most of us have been through something. But the command in Psalms chapter 1, whatever she does shall prosper. Or the promise in Jeremiah 29, verse 11, that I have come, I know the plans I have for you, plans to prosper you. Those are not cancelled by the wounds. And often we have to prosper in spite of the wounds. Sometimes in my language we say, we prosper even with the wound. Okay, so you are wounded, you are hurting. There's a phrase in my language, you are kwalela, but you prosper even though kwale. And I felt that even as we continue with the series on prospering in various ways, let's, in the middle of it, because we're not finished with that series, in the middle of it, let's talk about the fact that, because there are people who are saying it's nice, it's easy for you to say what you are saying because you have not been through what I've been through. It's easy for you to say what you are saying because you do not know what I've been through. My sister or my brother who is here, we may not know what you've been through, but whatever it is that you have been through was not meant to stop you. But I felt, let me not be the one that does this. Let me bring someone who I know has got the knowledge, and by knowledge I'm talking about experiential knowledge of both sides of the coin, and is on that journey. Okay, and so I brought my queen over here. And so my queen, I want us to go, that's basically where we are going to go for the most part. I want us to talk about the queens and crowns and what led to it, and what you are doing now, and how it is helping people to heal and prosper, or to heal and prosper while they are busy healing. So we're going to talk about queens and crowns, but it's always important, I love to do this, to go back to the beginning of Shirley, to take us back to who you are, where did it begin for you, the grace of God, where did it find you, how did you get here, how has life been treating you, how has God been showing up? Because as you are telling us that story, we pick up our own, we get encouraged as well. All right, let me let you go.
Okay. Thank you so much, my queen. And your topic, Inje, on its own, God's plans are to prosper us, but that doesn't mean there will not be weapons formed against us. The nice thing is that he says weapons will be, they shall not prosper, right? So as I begin my talk, I just to my story is going to be around the fact that there has been stealing, there has been killing, there has been destruction. So I want to say the thief comes to steal, to kill, and to destroy. But he has come that we may have life not just life,
Ah,
life in abundance. So my
amen.
story is going to be centered around that. And know
Mm,
that a lot of our queens have gone through some stealing,
mm.
killing, destruction,
Sibelwe
but
Nkosi.
there is a
Mm,
God who has come to give us abundant life in spite of. All right.
mm,
So my name is Shirley Hlophe, hailing from Eburuleni in Gauteng, and I'm a last born at home of my late father and my late mother, but I have a mother. And for those that were here last time, I explained how I was born. So my purpose started from my mother's womb. The thief wanted to steal what we are seeing
mm,
today because my mom was told she should not even try to fall pregnant because there was something wrong with her womb, right? And
mm,
she had twins. So I was going to be following the twins. But I mean, she was married, they tried, she was pregnant, she was scared, she was worried. But God, being God, I was born, right? When I was born, the doctor said, you know what? They need to monitor her life because it's a miracle that I was even born
mm,
alive. And
mm.
yes, I explained my name. My other name is Carbonina, meaning I was born at my mother's place because of the circumstances. She had to be around her mother, people who will
Mm,
take care of her when she had the small baby. So I was born there. My father said, ah, Carbonina. Lo. So
mm,
and then I grew up. My mom loved me so much. I mean, she knew she might not have time with me for long, you know, when you are
yeah.
told that anything is going to happen. So she imparted so much love to me. I remember I was very young, but the love that I had, I can still feel it even now. But at when I was around 2 weeks old, my mother had to go back to work, right? Because then it was not like now where we have luxury about 9 months, 3 months, 6 months maternity. So she had to go back to work. And
Mm,
what else must she do? She had to take the baby to crèche. Her mother was still young, so her mother was also still working. So I was taken to crèche at 2 weeks old. Now you can imagine at
mm,
2 weeks, I grew up from crèche. Yes, the crèche was being owned by one of their relatives. And then I stayed there when I was 4 years old. So I knew
mm,
everything. I had tricks. I taught kids not to eat umdogowabo because I was tired of umdogo. You know, when you've been around, you are a boss there now. So and then they decided, no, 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 this one is too much. She must go to school.
mm,
She
mm.
is ready for school. And then they
Yeah.
spoke to another relative of theirs that was a principal at his school and said, we have a 4-year-old here who's too much for our liking. Can you try her? You know? And then
Mm,
they said, okay, we'll try. For school? No. But anyway, I was taken to school, right? I started grade one. Strange enough, then back 1972, I was at school and then I started. I think I was gifted. I
mm,
was clever, could understand what was happening, and I started school. Now you can imagine if you start at 4, at 16 you
mm.
should be finishing your matric, all right?
Yeah.
That's that's
Yeah.
that's how everything started. So I started school, life was good, but when I was 8 years old, my mother succumbed to what was previously foretold, all right?
Mm,
She didn't make it, so she passed away. Okay, my father had to take over. So now I became a father's child because I
mm,
mean, so young. It was difficult for my father. I remember I was young, but I remember my father couldn't take it. My father couldn't even stay in the house. You know, when they come for prayers at night, he would just sit at the back of the house because he didn't understand what was happening. What is he going to do with an 8-year-old, you know? But
mm,
God being God, my mother's mother was there, the family was there, they took over. You know, what was stolen away from me, taking away my mother at a very young age, the
mm.
devil thought, okay, this is it. But God had a different plan. When I was 10 years old, my father got married. My father got married to a wonderful woman, a queen
Mm.
of note, a woman that
Amen.
has been with me up until today, a woman who has made the queen that I am
Amen.
everything that I've gone through, God provided this. That's why I'm saying He will give us abundant life in spite. The devil comes with the trick. It does not prosper because God has a different plan. Right?
Amen.
She took over, and then I was taken to different schools. As I said, I had a different kind of mind. I was too forward my age, and I went to school. I started politics started happening in Gauteng. I was so forward. I was into politics. I hated this African story. Like, I did not understand why must we be, attending school in Afrikaans and all that. I think for those people that were in Gauteng, they would understand around that time what was happening in our area. So my grandmother was a domestic worker, so she worked for Amapulu, spoke Afrikaans like she was an Afrikaner. So I ngancela from there. Yes, ngancela from there. So I could stand up and speak in Afrikaans against Afrikaans, right? So I used to go to the principal's office and I was like, no, we can't do this. We can't. It's not fair and all that and all that and all that. Now, that time, the apartheid government, they made sure that this needs to be stopped. This needs to be stopped before it gets bad. People were beaten up. People were killed in front of us. It was terrible. We stopped going to school. Like, I was into serious politics. And my father was watching all this. Remember, I was my father's daughter. Now he can't lose me. Realized other young people were dying just in front of me. So anything is possible with me. He looked at this whole thing. He thought, I must do something here. So there was this thing of going underground at that time. So people were excited. Others left. We didn't know where they went to. And then he came to me to say, oh, okay, people are going trained to be in controversies and all those. Hey, I got excited. I was into this thing. My father thought, something is going to happen with this one. So he spoke to a brother of mine who was in Swaziland. He says, this one must be taken away from here. If you can look at my feet, I have lots of scars in Vubu, and all that. So my father said, no, this one, we take this one away from here. Because if we don't, one, she's going to go to exile, or she's going to be killed. Now, I mean, I'm supposed to be going to, I passed to grow to grade 10, right? At that time. So they decide to take me to Swaziland. Besides me knowing, I'm told I'm visiting Swaziland and whatever, so I'm excited. I'm visiting my brother. And then I get to Swaziland to be told, no, you are here to study, to continue with school. I'm thinking, how? Okay. Then you never ask. When parents say you must do something, you never get a chance, why are you doing this, whatever. So I find myself there. It's late. They have to find school for me. It was just a messenger. I'm so lost in a different country. Anyway, I just, I felt like something was stolen from me because they made a decision for me. But yeah, I had to do it. Now I get to Swaziland. They are told this one can't go to grade 10. This is Swaziland. We do O level here. So she needs to go back to grade 8. Grade 8. I have passed so well. I was very intelligent. So I don't understand this. But I'm already there. There's no way that I can come back. My father made it clear that this one must go, right? So I am there. I am so disappointed. I am so hurt. How is it that I go back two grades back, But anyway, I went back. Why am I sharing this story? To say some people think when they fail in life, that is it. Sometimes we don't fail because we want to fail. Systems fail us. Systems. This was a system that failed me, right? So, but I then went back to grade 8. You can imagine, my queen, I know the work like a back of my hand. I just was visiting in class. It's like I was just there.
For 2 years visiting.
I used 2 full years. I used to teach kids. I used to make noise. I used to be very disruptive. One, Swaziland is worse than where I'm coming from. with the way they have to do things, and I don't like the fact that you can't speak in your Venek, you must speak in English. I don't understand all these things. If you've spoken in Venek, you are written in a book, and then your name must be taken and you must be beaten up because you were speaking in Venek. And I thought, I'm gonna change this. If I fought Africans in South Africa, I'm gonna fight this. But my brother kept on begging with me, you know what, you are here to study. Please, can you just concentrate? My brother was like, please, I'm begging. Your father has trusted me. And I was like, okay, let me just do this for my poor brother. So I
Concentrate.
concentrated and I started. I did everything. It was no brainer that I would just pass well. I passed. But before the end of the year, someone says to my father, you know what, you took a child to Swaziland. Do you know that when they finish grade 12, their certificate is not going to be recognized in South Africa because it doesn't have Afrikaans and it doesn't have Zulu or one of the vernacular language. Now my father says, oh my goodness, I didn't know that, right? So I've wasted 2 full years back into my studies. Now I need to come back. So my father decides, no, I can't continue in Swaziland. So, but I can't come back home. Now, can you imagine around the time I'm still a baby, I'm taken away from my parents, I've just lost my mom, and now I'm in a strange land. All of a sudden, I'm told I'm going to Durban. So my father says, I'm not coming back to Gauteng. I'd rather be taken somewhere else. So he speaks to a friend, can you please allow her to come to Durban? So I moved from Swaziland to Durban. Now, when I get to Durban, they can't use my report, the one that was going to grade 10, because it's the previous year. I must have a report. You're a teacher, you know that is coming from the last year. So they can only use my report that I've passed to go to grade 9. Okay? So I get to Durban. I now go to grade 9, right? There I fly through grade 9. I'm on my own. There is no family member. So it's like, I was meant to grow up at a very early age. I was made to make decisions on my own. When my parents are this side, I'm staying with strangers that I know. But one thing that I know, maybe the plan was to steal, but God had a different plan. The family that I went to stay with went to the Apostolic Faith Mission Church. They were very, very staunch Christians. They love God. So now late, I then realized God needed to redirect my life because my life was going a different direction. But God said, you know what, I'm going to disrupt this one. Even if it takes 2 years back of his studies, I'm going to disrupt life so that I then to redirect it to where I want. So I go to this family, wonderful family, the Kuzwayos at Umlazi. I stay with them. They accepted me. The person that we know is a Magoti to them, right? But I stay with them. I sleep in the dining room floor because they don't have space for me, but they say she can come. So I started a life, of accepting life as it was. It was not easy. It's not like they accepted me because they had everything, rosy. No, I was full in their house. I remember I slept in the dining room floor. There was a day where a snake went through the under the door, and as I was opening my eyes, the snake was just next to me. But they had cats. So they had cats because they knew the area was surrounded by snakes, and the cat took a snake like this just in front of my eyes, and it went with it. My life has been saved in so many ways that God showed me that when he saved me from my mother's womb, he was going to walk the journey. So I then studied to pass very well. I go to the next grade and everything goes well. Now you're on your own and you start doing things, my queen, right? I started doing things, and then unfortunately I felt pregnant with my son, and I think I was in grade 11. And now I'm so scared to come home because now my father sent me to school. Now I'm going to come with a baby. But God was good, in the midst of all that. I had so much support from people that became my family now in Durban. And I came back, I had my baby, but I was determined. I said to my father, you know what, I've done wrong, but please allow me to go back to school. Allow me to go back to school. I am begging. I'm humbly asking. Because if I stay here, it's going to be difficult to find school because at a different area, they can't take you from grade 11, So I have to go back, right? And then fortunately, my father, as much as he just was not happy, but he allowed me to do. And I took my child with. So now
Oh,
you can
wow.
imagine I'm grade 11 and I
Wow.
took my child with. I said, okay, to the father's child, a family, they said, no, they'll take care of my child. I went back to school and I had nothing. My queen, I had nothing because my father said, you know what? When I had things to give you, you played. Now you see to finish. I will allow you to go. You will see how you get through it. I can't blame
Hey,
my
Nkosi
father.
yami.
He was angry.
Mm,
So I remember I had no books. I
mm,
had I had to borrow books from friends, but I was determined I was gonna pass matric, and I wanted to pass matric very well, you know.
mm,
And I remember
mm.
when I was writing my exam, my child had chicken pox. It was
Hey,
so
Nkosi
bad.
yami.
I will study with him on my back, crying
Wow.
because it was bad. And
Yes.
in the morning, I will ask her aunt, please take care of my baby. I will walk, like long walk. For people who are in KZN, they will know. I was staying in section D. My school was in section E. It's a very, very long walk, but I walked throughout that year. And I would walk and I go and I write. I remember
Mm,
didn't even have a laboratory, but I was doing physical science. And, God has been walking this journey with me, And
amen.
in that year, that's when I met the Adventist people and I loved their music and I started, visiting the church and visiting the church
Mm,
and I remember I wanted to give my life to God and things like that. But I just want to finish off this school part so that people
yeah.
who are discouraged with life and they can learn
Yeah.
something from that. So
Yeah.
I passed my matric with an exemption
Mm,
under those
wow.
circumstances. Remember, there was an
Mm,
Indian teacher who said, you know what, for everyone else, I can take a pass, but for you, I want a distinction for maths and
wow.
physics. Because you've
Mm,
told me what you want. And the only way you can be that is to do well with these two. And I
yeah.
said to myself, you know what, friends, we have to be a voice of reason for people. That Indian
Mm,
teacher became a voice of reason to an Black African child that he never knew. He did know me, he did not know my issues, but he was on my case. That guy was on my case. And I said to myself, if he is so much on my case, this has got
mm,
nothing to do with him. So it means he sees something in me. There's a potential that he sees in me. And I made sure, I wrote under those circumstances, very difficult circumstances, I wrote my exams
mm,
and I passed. Now I pass, I come back and I said, you know what, friends, family, I have passed so well. I want to be a
mm,
social worker,
mm.
right? Because I have seen what has happened in my life throughout, and I think I can help other people. I don't have money. Those days, there was no NSFAS. It was not easy to get money to study. So I went to my uncle who had money. And I was so sure that my uncle's got money, I want to go to university. When you plan it around everything, you're thinking everything's gonna be easy. My uncle said to me, you know what? I don't need family with money.
Mm, mm,
Sure, I was so disappointed.
mm,
But
mm.
today I know why my uncle couldn't help.
Yeah.
Because God wanted to do it his own way. And if my
Hey,
uncle
Nkosi.
helped them, I wouldn't have a story today to tell. I
Mm,
would say then I went to school, my uncle gave money and but God said no. I went to a crèche with you at 2 weeks old. I will go through this life with you until you get a qualification that you want. So a
amen.
friend of mine says, "Hey, listen, there is a bursary, a banking course bursary that I saw in the newspaper. Let's apply." So we applied, and then I was successful. I had very good results, so I was successful. So straight
Amen.
after matric, I went and did a banking course. Remember, I
Mm,
said I wanted to be a social worker. So
yeah.
in
Yeah.
Endleleni, my queens,
Yeah.
it's not a
Detours.
dead stop; it's a
Yeah.
detour.
Mm,
So don't
mm, mm.
ever look at stumbling blocks and think these are you need to stop. It's a
Yeah.
detour. You're taking a different
Mm.
route. You're
Hey,
not
Nkosi
being
yami.
stopped. Allow
Mm,
yourself to be taught. and I was detoured into banking. All right, into banking, something that I never, ever thought I'll do. But I went in because it's that's the only bursary I got. So I was like, okay, let me go. Before I even finished my bursary at 10 months, I already had banks coming to school. They looked for people who had good results. I was one of them. I had a job already
Wow.
while I was still studying. I was going to start working for ABSA in December. So when I finished my exams, I started working for ABSA Bank, right? Then it was Volkskas, Trust Bank,
Yes,
there
yeah,
were
I
four.
remember.
Volkskas,
Yeah.
yes. So I started working. But remember, I wanted to have a qualification. For me, it was not just to work and have money. Now I have parents, my father, my mother is not working. She was a worker as well for some time, but then she's at home. So now there is a problem at home. My father is losing his. I just started working. I think it was the first year that I started working. So my father is losing his job. Now he had built a house for us, using a bond. I remember my very first salary of 1,000 rands. I had to now think, okay, the bond, there is no way we lose in the house. There is absolutely no way we lose. I might as well remain with 200 rand in my pocket. I have to pay the bond. I have to send money home. That was my life. Remember, I have a child now. I have a child. I have parents. So my money, my very first salary went home to take care of the bond, to take care of my parents, to take care of my child. But in that, when Jeremiah 31 verse 3 says, I have loved you with an everlasting love. You are mine. I knew who I was to. I knew that my life is in the palm of the one that has gold and silver, right? Who has everything. I could lack nothing. Now I'm so young, I'm working, but I don't even see what I'm working for. Because in salary, when I get it, it just gets distributed like that, And then, when you are like that, then there's something wrong with the father of the child. You know what happens when we are young?
Yes.
And then I now have found Christ. I'm an Adventist. I'm baptized, and I give my life. I give my life to God like wholeheartedly. I want to work for God, and I was on fire, my queen. I was on fire. I remember I used to preach. That's where I started this whole thing. When I get in, I'm very gifted in singing, right? I will start a song, the bass will be quiet because now my voice it can capture everyone. The noise will stop. I will stand up. I will preach of a savior. I will preach of a God who takes care of us. I did that for years. There's a friend of mine, Lorraine. Lorraine is a friend of mine. I got her from that bus. She used to take the bus, same bus. So when I finish preaching, she will keep a seat for me because you are so tired, you've been standing. So she will keep a seat. Then we ended up being friends. She said, "No, I'm following
And
you."
how old are you at this time, my queen?
So
How old are
I
you
had
at
my
this
child
stage
at
preaching in the bus?
So I had my child at 19. So I think I was 21, 22.
Wow.
Yes, I started the preaching in the bus for years, I think for over 9-10 years. And then my queen, I learned from the women. Because we used to change. Like if I preach today, and then another lady will preach the next day. If maybe she's not going to work, you'll preach for the whole week and things like that. So from the age of 21, 22, I was just on fire. 23 years, I was already married. So at 23, I get married, right?
Before we get married, my queen, let's take a pause here. I hope I've been putting the comments as you have been talking, because we're now going to go to get married, and that's going to lead us to Queens and Crowns. I've been putting the comments as you and I have been talking. The comments are running crazy. And that just speaks of the power of God in your life. I just want to stop and acknowledge, as I'm listening to you, I'm listening in that context that you've given us of John 10:10. The thief comes to steal, to kill, but I have come. I'm listening from when you were born. He has been trying to steal. And the big item that he has been after has been, if it was not your literal body, your life, it was your soul. The chief item that the thief has been going after has been your life. If he can't take your life, it has going to be your soul. But I am watching God. His grace is interwoven in your entire story, from your mother's courage to actually courageously have this child, and she loses her life soon after that. And of course, and people have commented about your stepmother, and I was sitting there like the queen that unearthed this queen. And little does she know, or did she know, that as she did that, she was actually creating. She allowed herself to be a conduit of grace, a dispenser of grace. And little did she know that in doing that, she was actually enabling like a ripple effect. Because look at the kind of work that you are doing now. So, guys, when you touch one person, my friend, I promise you that the impact of your one act of goodness is going to reverberate. I often say it will reverberate to eternity, because you never know that as you are touching this one person is going to be an influencer, that in one go, this one person is going to sit and touch so many more people. So and that's why we call these conversations grace talks. We talk about the grace of God, but we also talk about us being conduits of grace, the family in Durban. And this is what I love, and I don't want to get emotional, about us as Africans, and I plead that we don't lose it. As Africans, I spoke about this the other time. We're talking about the little boy with 2 fish and 5 loaves. He could have said, I've got nothing. But we as Africans, we give. Even though we have nothing, we share the little that we have, knowing what God does with the little. And so I want to just honor that family that also just did that. And you know what? Even the family of your the father of your son, because and I see it today, it doesn't happen anymore. The family is like, you fall pregnant, you take care of it. And Dr. Sarahina puts it so well here. Ubuntu is really a practical translation of grace. And I am watching it in your life, and those people that planted those seeds in your life as you were a child, in your education. Oma, as an educator, I was moved by the teacher who spoke life into you, because I try to do that on a daily basis. And I don't know where that life goes, but I speak it. And that teacher spoke life into you, and here you are sitting now, speaking life to us. So those seeds that he planted, they're continuing to germinate and grow into this huge, big. I now know why the devil had to have you dead. But God, my sister, but God, and we are sitting here today, and you are continuing. And there's something about him trying to go for you that makes you velvet a cheek. You want me dead anyway? I might as well die having done something amazing, so that otherwise you spend the rest of your life hiding, because he's trying to kill you, and you don't live because you're trying to run away from death. But here you are, living because they're trying to kill you. And I won't even talk about apartheid police, Nenivumba, the same story, the same theme continues. But anyway, let's have you getting married at 23 now.
Yeah. So before I get married, so remember, I've always loved a hood. You know that hood that they put when they graduate? Always loved what? If I'm 60, I will have that hood. I will have it, So let me give you a glimpse of the father that I call my father. My father was a giver. My father taught us that, when someone enters our home, they must never leave our home without us giving them something. Whether it's water, whether it's a tin ear fish in a cupboard, whether it's one Vienna from the fridge. Like, that's how he was. And we used to get so irritated because we were not well off. It was difficult for us. Why we should understand giving to other people, like, it did not make sense to us. It really did not.
But that's us, my queen. That's us. That's us. As Africans. We had nothing but hey, I wish we could.
He was worse, that guy. He was worse. And he used to give away things that as a child you did not understand. But now I'm double my father, and sometimes I don't understand. And I had to teach my kids exactly as the way I was taught, that you know what, when you give, you gain. You know?
Yeah,
When you
absolutely.
give, you gain.
Tenfold.
So I come from that family that taught I have never been alone. But
Yeah.
it's only me and my sister. Never. Our home was forever full of people. I, I
Engusiyam.
I have people that I thought I'm related to up until today, only to be told no, we were never related. My father just took them in. I have a cousin. I still call a cousin up until today. When I hear the story, we are not even related, you know. So now I am bringing that because that's where this community worker in me comes from, right? Because I
Yes.
was taught that the little
Yes.
that I have should be shared with others. Some
Amen.
people in this room, they will tell you, I can't keep quiet when something needs to be done and maybe something needs to be given. It is just in me, you know, and I know it comes from then. So when I got married in the area where I got married at, they had a children's home. They still have it. There is a home, children's home and adult so when I got there, I was like, yo, you are gonna go to the plan of God. I moved from Swaziland to Durban to get to the home for me to get Christ and for me to then do all these things and all that, to be then introduced to a person who works for a home so that
Engusiyam.
thing of me yokupha can be rekindled. So when I
Practice.
get there, I have a son already. So I get married and then I have a daughter. Okay, let me not jump. I just want to sit on this one. So I
Yeah.
get there, there's these kids there, they love you. I invite them to my house. Every Sunday I cook for them. Because if you have a children's home, there is a set of meals. If Tuesday, it's every Tuesday. If Wednesday, it's so I had this thing in my mind, but sometimes we eat
Yeah.
dumpling
Yeah.
nenkuku. You know, how many nkukus and dumplings can be done for abantwana base home? I mean, you can't expect them to do that.
Yeah.
So this is what I used to do every Sunday. I would then cook up a storm, you know, so that the
Amen.
kids can come and just have a different meal, you know, come to my
Engusiyam.
house and have a different meal. Little did I know that now some of the children don't want to go back to the home. Now it's a problem because now they want to stay. But then there was two of them, two young men that stole my heart and stole my son's
Oh
heart
man.
because now they
Oh
become a
man.
friend to my son. So my son keeps on saying, "Mommy, can so and so stay?" You know, kids,
Oh,
they will pester you. You know, almost when they are
I
asking for a
know.
pet and they will beg you and you don't like to have a pet in your house. That's how my son pestered me. And that for me said, you know what, my kids are getting to understand this life of giving.
Their
My
heart,
son
they pick
was
it up.
a pest. Please,
Oh
mommy, can
man.
Kolane come and stay with us? And I'm
Oh
thinking,
man.
I can't afford for another person to come here because it's my children. Then I had my son, my sister's son that I had adopted, and I took stay with me in Durban. Now, remember, I've just gotten married. I have a daughter because I don't know if it was luck or what happened, but in the very same week of me getting married, I fell pregnant with my daughter. Another time where the devil wanted to steal my life. So I fell pregnant. Then, as I was about to go to work, I think it was a month later, I was about to alight, like, I feel this terrible pain, this terrible pain. Hey, I fell off. Remember, I'm the preacher most in this bus, so everyone like, yo, preacher, what is happening? So everyone is running to me. When they get there, I know I'm losing my life. Like I'm going. The pain is unbearable. So from there, they took me to the hospital. When I got to the hospital, the doctor said ectopic pregnancy. We nearly lost this one. I didn't even know I was pregnant. So the doctor says you're pregnant and the child is in the wrong tube. Yo. So what must we do now? So the doctor says it's either we need to decide. The period is it's too young. I mean, it's only a month.
Too
I can't
earlier.
risk your life. It's too early. I can't risk your life. Where is your husband? So I said, okay, call the husband. He must come. So he comes. I'm admitted. I feel numb, going down. So the doctor says to us, you know what? there's a 99% chance that if we let this go, we're going to lose the mother and the child. So
history repeating itself.
Yes, chance yokuthi baphile bobabili is very, very slim. So it's either we abort, make sure that we abort the child, and then so that we save the mother. Now the igama nje elithi abort. Yo, it was heavy on my soul. I was like, abort, even if it's not me, I feel like I'm gonna kill Monsieur. You know, I look at the husband. He loves God, a man of God. He thinks like me. He says there's no way. We can we not take a chance with this? And we decided, you know what, doctor, can we give God a chance? Can we give God a chance? There is a percentage chance that we can both live. So we then both decided we want to give God a chance. Let's
that 1%.
Yes. We can use laser to pull, like we will do this laser therapy to try and pull this embryo to the right place, right?
Yes.
So now it will be a very painful time of me going to a hospital all the time, Nyoshiswa, so that they can move this embryo to the right place. It was the most painful thing I have ever felt. But God.
Yes, ma'am.
God gave so much strength.
In spite of the pain.
The first 3 months, it happened. Now, as they are doing this, you know, now that I do nutrition and health, and I know why I developed cancerous cells. I know where they came from. Now, so it happened. Eventually, doctor says, you know what? We are out of the woods. The baby is at the right place now. And we praise our God. Thank you, oh dear Lord, for you.
Hey, that 1%.
The 1% became the 99% because we serve a good God who has come to give us life in abundance, in spite of all these challenges. You know? So I then had a very difficult pregnancy. At 8 months, I was numb and I couldn't walk because of all this laser. And then my doctor said, you know what? I am not taking any child out. This one taught me that nature can take care of itself.
Yeah. You shifted the system there.
Yeah, a non-Christian doctor. He says, this one showed me that it's possible. This baby is going to be born in 9 months. We are going to wait for this child to be born in 9 months. Bona, my queen, I was lifted, being lifted on a stool to go and sit at the different place and whatever. That the last month was the worst. But you know what? Lime Lomen, I still preached. I remember I was being Petty Women's Ministries then. I still spoke of the God who saves. I still spoke of a God who restores. I still spoke of a God of miracles. You know, because this was a miracle baby. My daughter was a miracle child. She was a miracle child. Then, cut a long story short, I fell into labor. My doctor is in a rugby match somewhere. He get called. Listen, your patient. Can we call another doctor? My doctor says, never. I am coming for this one. I am coming.
Rugby must be falling.
Tell her to wait. I waited. You know, he came. I remember very well. He had a rugby shirt. You know, because he's a spectator at a rugby match. I think it was a big rugby match. Then, in 1996, he then comes. He says, this one, I have to finalize my miracle.
I must finalize this miracle.
I have to finalize my miracle thing. My baby was born well. Everything was fine.
Amen.
We called her Faith. She is Mbalente.
Hey. Of course.
So she was born. And you know what? The way God was so good to me, that testimony has kept I have saved a lot of people. But remember now, he saved my child. I remained with they then realized that there was a problem in my womb. As the months go by, there's something in my womb. But I know, even if it came from that ectopic, I think it came way back because I remember as a child, I used to have very, very difficulty when I have my periods. I used to bleed like nobody's business. It was bad. But I think everything then just joined in together, and it became this big problem with my womb and things like that. Then they realized there was a cancerous cell on my fallopian tube. And I'm thinking maybe it was from that laser and whatever that has been happening. So now I start struggling with a life of operation after operation of operation. And when I share my story with my queens, I say, if I have to count how many times I've been to theater, it's 9 to 11 times in my life.
Wow.
Right?
You've died that many times.
But look at me now. I still stand with those scars. I still say God heals. I get it. I'm young. They don't want to remove my womb. They keep cutting this part. Then I'm in pain. Then I'm in hospital for 4 weeks, 8 weeks. Then they cut another part. I get like they keep cutting. This is where my love for nutrition comes from. Because I keep saying, if I knew what I know now, I would have prevented all these operations. I always make people laugh and say, God created this body. If he knew that we had to be once in a while cut, he would have asked Father Mazip. We would have a mazip. We have a zip zip in your breast because he knows we will have to be opened. He would have done that because he created our bodies. So because of all these operations and all these things, I had to take some time and research, my queen. I'm like, no, man, there is another way of doing this. He says there is nature, and nature heals us. Nature heals us. What is happening? So this now, I wanted to bring this portion of me. How did I get into this nutrition and into this teaching people of natural herbs and natural eating? It emanates from there.
But from your own experience, you have seen that. Okay, my queen, this I knew this story. Sarahina is here, and she and I are writers and publishers. I need to know, when is my queen's book coming, because we can never finish the story, and we have to have this story. We've got to get a book out, my queen. I'm serious. We've got to get a book out because we want these stories. We want to share these stories with our daughters and our daughters-in-law and our sons, etc., etc. Now, my queen, let's skip, because time, that's the problem. Time, we'll never have enough time. But if we put it in a book, I can always go back and refer to it. You now do Queens and Crowns, this ministry of yours, which is amazing. Somebody agrees that the book must come out. She knows. Please, my queen, please. There is need for this book. Okay. Now there's Queens and Crowns. It's okay. Cover your face. There's Queens and Crowns now that you are running this beautiful ministry, this beautiful concept. But it emanated partly from the experiences that you have shared, but also from a big part of your life, because the enemy continued to try to steal, to kill, and to destroy, but you are still standing. Unomfundo commented earlier on, change maker. I'm watching you and I'm seeing you as a I think it was King Ahabi calling Elijah the troubler of Israel. I'm watching you as you are that kind of person who is not afraid of fighting systems, going against systems, going against the education system, going into the hospital where doctors would abort ectopic pregnancies. But you go there, powered by this God who goes behind you, and you shift his whole mentality about what's possible. And here you are now. Let me let you speak about Queens and Crowns and what led to that, what you are doing now, because it's very important. I want us to walk away knowing that regardless of how dire our situation looks, there is this God. Speak, my queen.
Okay. So I got married at 23 and for 16 years, right? And it has not been a bed of roses. It has been very, very difficult. But I tried to make things work. I tried everything in my own powers, and I thought I was a good wife. I thought I was a good wife, and I thought, I did everything like I did everything, my queen, but things did not go my way, and I don't have time to go deeper into what happened, right? But in the middle of that, in the midst of all the challenges that I went through in my marriage, and I want to cover this one and finish it in spite of, because our topic says in spite of all those challenges, I still studied and I graduated in the midst of that, as I was married,
Hey,
everything, and I graduated with it, and I did my honors, and I thought to myself, when I graduated with my diploma, there was no hood, my queen, and I was disappointed because I thought when you graduate with the diploma, they'll give you a hood. And I sit there, Tina, we're not getting hood. I was like, no.
I know, diplomas had no hood. In some institutions, others do.
Like, no.
But I had the same problem.
Yeah, I was.
After all that hard work.
I didn't have, I was like, and I was like, no, I want it. But anyway, so I'm saying in the midst of the challenges that I had in my marriage, I still pursued my goal. I still pursued. I remember I wrote my exams, and when I went through the divorce, the first divorce, I wrote an exam. And I still passed, but anyway, let's go back to that. So I got divorced in 2011, right? And I went through it alone. And I went through it alone because my parents, my family didn't understand what was going on. I was married to, a well-known person, a pastor, it did not make sense, my queen. It just did not make sense. I remember I had a near stroke, and I remember the stroke. Why I'm remembering the studying part, I was at a library, right? I was at the library preparing for my exams, and I had a near stroke. From the library, I was rushed into a doctor, and the doctor said to me, listen, Yawen, what have you gained from this marriage? Forget about what you've lost. I think what kills us, I want to tell a lot of queens, is you then take more of what you've lost. Yeah. And you then forget to look at what you have gained. So the doctor said to me, listen, what have you gained? And I looked at my daughter, like, you know what? One thing that I'm coming out of with this, like out of this marriage, it's this child. I wouldn't have had this child,
Thank you, so that miracle child.
That was my miracle. I can't remember. Why am I forgetting that? Why am I thinking I've lost everything? I have not. God has been faithful. I have. So I get divorced in 2011, and it was a very, very painful, alone thing. No one was with me. Like not because they didn't want to be there, but they did not know how to. And sometimes we blame people. We blame the church. We blame our friends. They were not there for me. They don't know how to be there for you. It's something like that happens. They just don't know how to be there for you. So because that happened, and I was still young, and I remember my child speaks. Hence, I sent you the link, my queen. You can share it with other queens. My child spoke to say, when she was sitting there, mama, you are young. You go back to things that you loved. Because remember, I'm an advocate for women, for youth, and now I'm sitting in this bed. She said, Mommy, please. So I then thought, okay, I'm young, maybe I can try again, And when you ask God, Lord, if it is in your will, and I thought it was in his will, and I got married again in 2016, right? I was the most happiest bride, my queen. I looked beautiful. I like everything was so beautiful, and because I thought, okay, this is so now I'm not going through this again. But anyway, a lot of things happened in my life. I lost a lot of myself. I lost a lot of my passions. I stopped my community projects with my heart bled. When I stopped going to the children's home, because I've adopted a children's home that I work with here in my area. I stopped. I couldn't. I go to them. Why? Because when I went to them, I went with, and we did things together. Now I go there, they would ask, "Oh, Puput," and I don't know what to say. It was so painful, and I stopped. I when your life ceases, it stops. I felt like my life ceased. Sarina will tell you that dress. I hated that. Like I hated the pictures that reminded me of my wedding. I hated anything that reminded me of my pain, because it was a painful remembrance. It was a painful remembrance. And I remember when I got divorced the first time, and as the times went by, and I thought to myself, I wonder how the other women are dealing with this. Like I wondered, you know. But when the second time approached, I thought to myself, I'm not going through this alone again.
I'm not doing this again like this.
I am not going through this alone again. And I'm not allowing another person to go through what I went through. I know how painful it is. My queen, I spoke last time. I lost my marriage early in the year 2020.
Yeah.
I lost my job of 20 full years.
I remember.
I lost my job in the very same year. I lost my job. Now, when you stock of what is happening, you realize, I'm about a million, let me say about, because 750 to 950,000 in debt.
In debt. Moyo ingcwele.
In 2014, I owed no one.
Hallelujah.
But love. But all of a sudden, from 2016 up until 2020, I'm in so much debt that I'm swimming in debt. My queen is a picture that when I look at where I was eating ipapa and an onion, ngamanzi, I asked myself, how did I get here? How did I get here? But the thief had destroyed. And eating Shilongati, he comes to steal and kill. He was trying to kill me. Now he had destroyed, because he destroyed me. You know, when you lost everything, I lost everything in 2020, like everything. But the most thing that I thought I lost was me, the queen. And I call people queens. I needed to find me, right? So I then said to myself, I need to find me, and I need to help other people to find themselves. That's where queens and fans come from. I met with 4 divorced women. I spoke to them, and they had the same, vision to say, you know what, maybe we need to come together and just talk. We thought we were doing it for the 4 of us. Let's come together. We share, and then we talk and whatever. And we came. I remember we had one meeting in WhatsApp. You know, WhatsApp can take 4 people at a time. We spoke. We're going to talk about our children. We're going to talk about this, whatever. Let's look at a name. God gave this name, Queens and Crowns, and I looked for it. It was still available because I was determined I was going to register this. Okay, I'm one person. When I do something, it's either I do it right or I just don't do it.
Yeah.
I don't want to wishy-washy around things. When I think you've seen me, if I go to the gym, I want to go to the gym and do the pots to happen. I don't for the sake of doing. I'm like that. So I then said to the women, so we started, when you start something, when it's your vision, it's your vision. We started together, but I could see that there was a bit, this has to happen, man. This has to happen. Yeah. And my queen, you know what swimming taught me? It taught me bulundela,
diving.
Talk about that when we get to the end. But so I thought to myself, this one is gonna put me into trouble because I need to be vulnerable. I need to open up. I need to share me. And I need to be open to other people's issues, which is what I'm going through right now. So I opened a very difficult arena that I did not know what I was doing, but I know that I was not going alone. I love Isaiah 43, verse 18 to 19. It do not remember the former things, nor consider the things of old. And I thought to myself, I'm not going to go to the old me. If I want to create this thing, I should remember these things. Behold, I will do a new thing. Now it shall spring forth. So I was looking for a new thing so that I don't go back in color and whatever. I wanted a new thing. I will even make a road in the wilderness. My queen, I found myself in a desert. Yes, I found myself in a desert. Begumnyama, man. Begumnyama. from
Yeah.
every side. And I'm thinking, but Lord, what have I done? Can't
And
I
you have
haven't done
children.
anything? This is a purpose of God to launch me, into something, you know. And there's a verse Revelations 12 verse 11. Actually, they overcame by the blood of the
Yes,
Lamb.
yes.
The blood
Yes,
was
ma'am.
still sufficient, and by the word of their testimony. So Queens and Crowns was just a platform that the word of my testimony might help other people. I say, the tagline says, remember, your experience may be a survival kit for another broken queen. That's the drive for Queens and Crowns. It is there to reclaim queenhood. You know how much you lose yourself when you go through what I've gone through. Whether it's divorce, whether losing your husband, whether losing, you know, when you've lost so many things. This pandemic has proven to us that we can be reclaimed. Even singenazinto eziphathekayo, my queen, we are not reclaiming izinto eziphathekayo. We are reclaiming the queen within us. Lost parents, lost brothers, lost jobs, lost businesses, but God is about to reclaim us. He is creating a new thing.
About
So
to do a
Queens
new
and Crowns
thing.
was born in 2020, in the midst of me losing everything. I remember I launched that program, I think in April 2020 on Zoom. And the first one, I spoke about forgiveness. It was full. And I realized that we are broken. We are broken. We need to forgive ourselves. We need to forgive society. We need to forgive our spouses. Queen, our spouses are going to stand next to us in heaven. Bona, they are going to be residents in heaven. We can't be angry at them. We can't be angry at them. Yes, we caused each other pain. We caused each other pain, right? But we all deserve to go to heaven. And if we don't heal, this last week there was there were different topics. Forgive me, deliver me, whatever. But heal me spoke to me. That when you heal me, and then I can go out and heal others. If we are not healing, I read something on WhatsApp during the week. 80. When you are a toxic mother, you are as worse as an absent father. We need to heal. We can't be. We are as worse as an absent father because we are raising toxic children. So Queens and Crowns is a platform to say, listen, don't die alone. This thing is a stigma. It's a stigma, and some women are hiding in corners because we can't talk about it. God hates it, and he hates it, but we know he doesn't hate us. I've got my t-shirt from Queens and Crowns just to say to people, God does not hate us. We did not get married to divorce. We did not write our story to say it's gonna end in divorce. We wanted to end in eternal and joy. You know, we find ourselves here, my queen. And Queens and Crowns is just a platform, nothing much. A platform to say, let's come together, let's cry together, let's pray together, let's bring our children. Our children are hurting. In that link that my queen has shared there, go and listen. You will see my child shares her story. She can't stop but cry because she's being real. How divorce impacted her life. You know, so that's the platform that I started. So when we were officially launched in December, God said, you know what, these things, I tell you, they will come, but my plan has not changed. My plan still remains. My plan is to prosper you, not harm you. So if you've gone through a pandemic, my queen, I went through a pandemic of my own. I went through a pandemic of losing everything. People were going through a pandemic, COVID. I was going through my own pandemic of losing everything. Hey, but we serve a God who restores, my queen. A God who creates a new thing. You know, when I got a job back, more December that other
God
year,
restores.
I was in Port Alfred. I was going to speak in Port Alfred. And I said to God be the glory, the one who restores, the one who, there's Utu Joel, I will restore what the locust has stolen.
Yeah.
So I speak from a
beautiful ashes.
I'm telling you, I speak from a healed space because when I remember I took my pictures when healing happened. I remembered I was looking for something in a memory stick and I put it and I'm like, boom, my wedding pictures. If they came before, I would have destroyed that memory stick. Hey, but they came when the healer himself
At the right
dealt
time.
with me. When the healer himself dealt with me, I saw them and I was like, wow, I looked beautiful. These are beautiful, actually. You know, I took my picture. I went
Oh,
to Gula Aba Enlarge Tombe. And I enlarged my picture. It's in my dining room. When you enter my house, you see a queen. Because I don't look at a bride. I
evidence.
look at a same queen. I looked at it, the
Evidence of the
so when I
grace.
launched, my queen, when we launched, I wore my same wedding dress. I went and changed it for a color of the theme, and I walked with pride because for me, I didn't see a devastated bride. I didn't see a bride that was left by God to be an embarrassment. I saw a reclaimed queen. Queens, you are a reclaimed queen. Don't look at yourself and say, I'm useless, I'm worthless, I lost this and I lost this. Bona, you have not lost God. You might have lost everything else, but you still have your God next to you. And go out there and tell others of the Savior who is coming. You know, of the Savior. So Queens and Crowds says, let's go out there and tell of a Savior who changes ashes to beauty, who changes nothing to something. My queen, for the first time yesterday, I think it was Friday, I got a call from a white woman. I was shocked. I was like, you know what? I was speaking to my queens and was Kuluma Zulu, Nescosa, and whatever. Now God is bringing white women. She says, for 33 years, I've been in a very toxic marriage and I was directed to you. Please hold my hand. And I said, hey, you know what? You are not abnormal, my queen. You are normal. We've gone through this. Our God reclaims.
Yeah. My queen, masenzele nto mhlobo. I'm falling apart. I'm battling. I lead an army of women who are determined to honor God, who are determined to be a blessing to society, and I watch them. And I get to know a number of them, and I know what they are going through, but I watch them do in spite of everything. And there's been a call in the community of a part 2. You and I will have to talk and just look at your dates. I know how busy you are. Look at your dates where we can now, because you have now left it in basically in that peak of your experience. I mean, you wearing that wedding dress, hey? So much. There's a process that you went through in your spirit. There is, I'm sure, a wrestling like Jacob did that you went through with God. There is a mountain that you surmounted with the grace and the Spirit of God to get to that place where you can now be able to look at your pictures, my queen, and not just look at them and smile, but look at them and frame them, because you now have a different frame when you look at that experience. Not all of us are there. Not all of us are there when it comes to marriage, but other traumatic experiences in our own lives. And I said to you, and I keep telling you, I love how practical you have been in your walk with God to get to where you are now. And I want us to come back. Ladies, please back me up here, because I don't want to just say part 2 and I'm alone in this thing. But I've seen earlier on in the conversation where we can now delve deep into the practicalities of how God does it and how we respond to God. How are we supposed to think? Because as a woman thinketh, so is she. How are we supposed to think? How are we supposed to do this so that we can actually be able to get from where we were to that place of life? Because a number of us, I normally say, John 10:10 has got 2 parts to it. The thief comes to steal, to kill, and to destroy, comma. But I have come that they might have life. Many people are still behind that comma. It is a huge struggle. It takes years to jump the comma to but God. It takes years to jump. So, but I'm watching you, helping, holding the hand, empowered by the Spirit of God, holding the hand of so many to jump that comma to but God. Okay, so we need one. We need one. But I think we need an in-person thing. You and I are going to talk. Oh, Lord. let me just read some comments for you in case this one. Tandogat says, we need a weekend with you. And I'm bringing an army of women that haven't watched this. Okay? Please, TOGI committee, consider this. So, my queen, you will hear from me. In fact, when we finish here, we must talk. The rest, my queen, I'm not lying, is part 2. You can go to Facebook and see it. Part 2, part 2, part 2, part 2, part 2. The rest is part 2, please. Part 2, please. There was one. Kanye. So my queen, I thank God for you. I really truly thank God for you. AmaXhosa aye athi church. Ndizawuthi nje mna church ubekho. Because God knew, and He allowed it, and He saved your life so that this can happen. And so we have two calls here from the Theatre of Grace community. A part 2, you and I must talk, but also an in-person experience. We'll talk about that. We'll make it happen. Thank you guys for joining us, my queen. I just want you now to just give us closing remarks. Just give us closing remarks and pray for us, okay? But before you do so, ladies, we're joining. Thank you so much for joining us. This is one you want to share. Share this broadcast. I know we've tagged people in it. Tag them, yes. But it's also on YouTube. Copy the link and send it to someone. They can watch it in their own time. This is one that needs to be shared. And tell them she's coming back again. We are going to continue with this one. When we come and we receive healing, go and tell another that you know needs the same healing. I'm humbled again, and I want to send greetings to Gunubi Hotel. Umama Ngini is gathering there, my queen, with widows, because often we've neglected those our mothers and our sisters who lost their husbands. So they've got a weekend away in Gunubi Hotel, and so they are tuning in as a team of women who also are wounded. And so this is not just about divorced women, it's about wounded women, wounded queens. And so I want to just send a shout out to those ladies that have joined us. Thank you so much. I know that your weekend was a great success and that God has blessed you. My queen, thank you so much. Thank you for your life. Thank you for your story. Thank you for the courage to share it. Before you give the closing remarks, let me put the link up again because I listened to that video. Your daughter just brought me to tears. She is so beautiful. She is so calm. She is evidence of the act of but God. She is absolute evidence that the grace of God is just utterly amazing. So guys, go and watch this video on her YouTube channel. Go and watch it. It's very short, but it's just something that you would also benefit from. My queen, Masiva, let's get this week. What a way to start.
Okay. Thank you so much, everybody. I really appreciate you. And Mina, where God says I must go, I will be there. It's a weekend, I'm there. I'm there. So just be sure that I will be there, right? So I just want to close by saying, the Israelites find themselves in the middle of a Red Sea. They just, are so tired. Why did you take us out if you're gonna, all these things that they said. But I love Exodus 14, verse 14. It says, Moses told Israel to move forward. For the Egyptians they see now, they will never see them again. The things that we see and we think they come to destroy us. God says, you will not see them again. Not that they won't be there, my queen, but the eyesight kamoya makes you see things differently. Mauphakathi in the Red Sea, continue seeing Hlophe, that you in the day, and ubone umlilo that leads you in the night. There's a preacher that was saying this, and he says even when they were outside, bathola amanzi wasemara, God could have made them water not to be bitter, because sebezobuhlungu enough laba abantu, but God made the water to be bitter. The waters will be bitter, my queens. We will get ourselves to bitter waters, but we should not forget where God has led us from the past. We still need to see Hlophe emini. insika yomlilo owathi uMoses akafamvu kulawa manzi abe sweeter. The bitter waters that you are going through, whether you're a widow, whether you're bereft, whether you don't work, whether you're going through separation, whether you're going through what you're going through now, the same God is here to put ilifu, to make your waters sweeter, and you will find yourself in the comfort place. So I want to close it there and say, you know what? Let's move forward. Let's change the way we see things. Things are going to be there, but it's the way we see them that is important. If I see a failure in me, I'm a failure. If I see a divorcee in me, then I'm a divorcee. If I see someone who cannot conquer anything, then that's what I'm going to see. So abasegibhithe sibabona sibabona because sibabona ngamehlo wenyama. Kanti if sifuna ukubabona ngamehlo kamoya, angeke sibona abasegibhithe, sizobona insika yefu. We are going to see that cloud. And we are going to see the fire, the pillar of fire at night. So I want to thank everybody for listening to my story. It's not a unique story. Every woman has a unique story, but I'm willing and if it's going to help someone, I'm willing to go deeper. I'm willing to go deeper because I'm just touching the shallow waters here. Deeper things happen. And when it happened, it was not as easy as I'm talking like now. They happened and they touched my soul, you know. So I want to close it by saying, my queen, thank you so much for having me. And I know that you were touched by my swimming. I didn't want to learn to swim just because I wanted to swim. I needed to deal with my mind. So what happens when I'm in the water? My mind says, I can let go. I can let go and let God carry me. And I remember the way I was so scared to be in water. This has taught me that nothing is impossible. Nothing is impossible. I can conquer. If I conquer swimming, then says to me, I can conquer anything that the devil brings in my life, because if I'm conquering, what more in So for me, it was not just about swimming. And I'm not doing it for me. Do you know how many queens I've encouraged to go and learn? Because it's not just swimming, we holiday and whatever. It is what it does in your mind. It is what it does in your mind. Letting go and believe that you are being carried by a force. There is a force that is carrying you. So thank you so much, everybody, for listening to this story. Let us close our eyes as we pray. Our Father who art in heaven, Lord, you are a wonderful God. You say we are yours. You have called us by your name, oh dear Lord. Some of us are broken. Some of us are bleeding. Some of us do not see the way out. We have lost hope, oh dear Lord, for the thief has stolen that we thought we had. For the thief has killed the inner man in us. For the thief has destroyed us, has destroyed our children, has destroyed our marriages, has destroyed our union. Others are widows. Oh, dear Lord, we come to a God who has come to give us life in abundance. We are declaring this morning that we are going to have the life in spite of all the challenges, in spite of all the weapons that are formed against us. For we have assurance that they will be formed, but they shall not prosper. We want to go out there and use our experiences as a survival kit for other women, for other daughters of ours that are hurting. I pray for this platform. I pray for sister, my Queen Beauty. Use her in your vineyard, oh dear Lord. We want to tap into even the community projects that we are doing, because there's women here that can run with some of the things that we are doing. As we share, we empower each other. I want to thank you for being with me. I was nervous. I was scared. I did not know where to start. But you, oh God, I know that it had nothing to do with me. It had everything to do with you. Glory and honor belongs to you. This is my humble prayer in the mighty name of Jesus. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Thank you, my queen. Guys, next Sunday we have Pastor Poster back. Remember, we wanted a part 2 from Umfundisi Poster. He's back, and we are doing the tripod of spiritual prosperity. Do not miss it. It turns out that there's a tripod that if it is standing, you will prosper spiritually. So join us next Sunday, guys. Otherwise, have a blessed, blessed, blessed day. I have a feeling it's going to be amazing. All right, but not just the day, the week as well. Thank you so much, guys. Be blessed.